We're back.
Hello, everybody. Jamie and Marcus here.
Hello.
We are the couplepreneurs,
Yes.
restaurant couplepreneurs.
And we do other things.
We do a lot of other
Hospitality.
things. Hospitality.
Couplepreneurs.
Yes. Yeah. That sounds good too. I don't know. We're still trying to think of a name for our podcast, right?
Yep. Podcast show. This is like episode number 3.
Yes.
We are still nameless. We've talked about building your dream business, a dream restaurant, but we're really in the hospitality space. So we're more than just a restaurant. We're Airbnb hosts, luxury Airbnb hosts, wine travel, vacation hosts, right? So we have a tour company. We do designated driving business here in the Hudson Valley for wineries, breweries, distilleries, and we help restaurants. We coach restaurants.
Yes.
Help them market. So we're kind of in the whole hospitality growth space, hospitality space. And we're having fun.
We are.
A lot of fun.
We are.
So there's a lot of, now I'm going to ask you a question today, unless you have a question for me. Do you have a question for me?
So I thought of a question. We don't have to do it today. I thought about talking about the ups and downs of the hospitality business and how we have pushed through, and recommendations that you would give to other people in the hospitality business is my question. But
okay,
your question might be better.
No,
so let's stick with your question.
Let's stick with your question.
Okay.
Stick with your question. So sort of rephrase the question to me.
So ups and downs that we have faced in the hospitality business. We've been doing this for a very long time now. And any recommendations you would give to people to become more successful, things that we have learned. And obviously you've written a book or you've written a few books, and our third book should be coming out soon, which is one that I helped with a lot. And so we've made a lot of mistakes. What would you, maybe we can pose it to another question. What would you say is the biggest thing that you've learned?
Biggest thing I've learned.
Or the biggest mistake you've made.
Okay, here we go. The biggest thing I've learned is taking responsibility for everything. Taking 100% responsibility.
Which is hard, right?
Really?
Especially when you're a chef, because I think, chefs are perfectionists. And I know I have seen a huge change in you from the first day we opened 20 years ago to where you are today. And I remember things being thrown in the kitchen and you banging things and throwing things and, not being happy with the way something came out, which you still get like that, but you don't throw you don't throw things like you used to.
I'm right.
You've learned to deal with it a little more.
I mean, I'll slam my fist from time to time.
Yeah.
I'll be like, darn it, and I'll slam my fist. And because a lot of times I'm upset at myself because I did something that I wasn't happy with. And I'm just frustrated. Although for the first time ever in our 20-year history, I shut the kitchen down.
Yes, you did.
I shut the kitchen down on a Sunday. The kitchen was just not happening whatsoever.
It was in bad shape that day.
And we were I got back there, jumped on the line to help them out, and I got
them through what we had
on the rail.
And then we did not take any more tables.
I said, shut down. We shut down for an hour and a half. The kitchen prepped and we reopened again.
Yes.
We never got momentum back that night. No. And it was a dud of a night, but we were packed and mobbed.
So Gordon Ramsay, when he shuts things down, that's really the way we have probably felt many, many nights.
And I finally did it.
And
I said, enough. This is an embarrassment. Enough. Shut it down. And after they knew I was upset. The kitchen staff knew I was really upset. I took a day or so to ponder the situation. And the following, this is a Sunday, I think maybe Monday, I called the chef into my office. And I said to her, I want to talk about Sunday. And she immediately starts apologizing, this, that. And I said, stop. I'm taking 100% responsibility here. And I kind of caught her off guard. So I'm taking 100% responsibility here. It's my fault that happened. And in most cases, a restaurant owner would never think, anybody would never think it's their fault, right? Your staff screwed up. But in my defense, or in my perspective, I said, well, if I would have been better on looking at their prep list,
Mhm.
if I would have been following up on pars, bless
Excuse
you,
me.
if I was better up following on pars,
Mhm.
forecasting how busy we would have been, if I would have done my job better, they could have done their job better.
Right.
And so then the following that week, you and I started running much more in-depth reports,
Mhm.
and we compared the previous week, the previous year to week, all these kinds of things. And I would hand them a list now and say, okay, you need 60 of this going into the weekend. You need 85 portions of this going into the weekend. You need enough to serve 120 of these for the weekend. Let's get that done before the weekend, not in the middle of Friday night, not in the middle of Saturday night, and definitely not in the middle of Sunday afternoon like it was happening. So let's get all that done ahead of time. If we have to cook potatoes on Thursday for the whole weekend, we cook potatoes on Thursday. We make potato salad out of them. We have to do that. So I took responsibility and I tweaked. I didn't really tweak. I came up with a better system because
Mhm.
the system wasn't in place, and that was my fault.
Right.
And so my advice to everybody, your things are happening in your business for a reason. And when you can look at yourself and say, I'm the reason that this is bad that's happening or that's not right that's happening, it gives you the control and the power. And I think people need to use this throughout their relationship with their spouse and everything. It's my fault that this happened. It's my fault this happened. What can I do? Because a lot of people just put the blame.
So that's taken you 32 years
Yes. It's taken me a long time to, yes.
in our relationship, at least, right?
So if I take responsibility, if you take responsibility, you now have control to change it.
Mhm.
I'm not saying you have to get abused and beaten up and, and taken advantage of. So back to my kitchen staff.
Mhm.
Now I gave them the system. Now, if they screwed up, well,
Now it's their fault because
now
you've
it's
given them the system.
I've given them the system. I've given that. So, but then again, if they screwed up, maybe I didn't follow up properly. Maybe I should have held their hand more, even though we don't want to hold employees' hands. But sometimes there's certain things that people need their hands held till until they get it done and done and done and done. And I got to tell you, our best employees ever are people that we've actually
Trained
trained,
ourselves.
trained,
Mhm.
and then have had little experience
Experience.
to begin with. And how do you do that? You hold their hand, you train them, you work through them with the mistakes, and you get to them a point where they're good.
Right.
Now, on the other hand of this, if I would have done this for 4 weeks in a row and they were not getting it in the kitchen and they weren't understanding the concept of prepping ahead, running a forecast, this is what we need. If they would have then sort of said, and 4 weeks in a row, I'm following up with them, then it's still my fault for keeping them as an employee.
Right.
I can change that. I can say, no more are you employed here. Let's move on to somebody else who is going to follow my guidelines, follow my advice, follow the system that was set up.
Good answer. So, all right.
Yeah.
All right. So, what is one of your biggest failures in the restaurant?
Oh, I think it's failures. Oh my gosh. Boy.
What pops into your head?
So that's a tough question because
That is a tough question.
because we're
Right?
still here after 20 years, right?
Right.
And you learn from your failures.
Mhm.
You learn from your mistakes.
What do you think the biggest thing you learned was? Besides taking responsibility,
I think
be creative.
the things that, so what have I learned?
I think the biggest thing for me is thinking outside the box and being creative to bring people to our small little town. We are in a town of 4,000 people, right? I mean, that number might have even gone down.
Yes.
And so we always had to be creative and bring people into our space, into our community, into our restaurant, and spend their money with us. So we always have had to be creative.
We have to be very, very creative. And we have had so here's one of the things I learned in the very, very beginning about marketing, right? So our accountant in the very beginning, our first accountant taught me this. And I said to him, I said, Mike, what do I need to spend on marketing, right? And this is before we knew marketing.
Mhm.
Way
before marketing.
Way before we
We were
understood.
putting ads in papers.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I said, Mike, what do I need to spend on marketing? He goes, well, Marcus, you're going to spend the money either way. It's going to be a great location that you're going to pay in rent that has a lot of foot traffic and you need less marketing, or you're going to have a out off the beaten path location like yourself, which is no foot traffic, which your rent is a lot less, that you're going to have to spend that differential from a good rent to a lower rent in marketing to get people in the door. I said, wow, that makes total sense. That makes a lot of sense. Now, to follow up that, what we learned afterwards is you don't do marketing unless you can measure it, and
You can see the return on investment.
return on investment, right? And then your best marketing plans are the ones you keep repeating. You repeat, repeat, repeat. So, for example, we know that for every dollar we would spend on a postcard for a birthday, we get back $32.
Mhm.
Now we know that for every free steak we give away, we get $112 back. So now I'm not going to put a budget down for marketing and say we can only spend 10% in marketing. I'm going to keep getting birthday offers out there, as many as I can get out there to get the 112 back. And if I have to do 100 or 1,000 or 500
You
a
know
month,
you're getting that back.
not to stop.
Right.
So the other biggest thing we learned is don't stop marketing that works.
Mhm.
Because people say, oh, my budget for marketing is 15%. I have this month $1,500 and they spend $1,500. And sometimes that $1,500 isn't working at all for them because they're just they have a line item on their budget that says spend this, and they're just putting it in an ad that has no call to action, no way to measure, track, and the returns. So they just say, oh, I'm not going to spend more than 1,500 because it's not working. But when you get something that's working, like a birthday offer, direct mail marketing,
Right. Keep doing it.
keep doing it.
Keep doing it because
Keep
it's
doing it.
working,
Yeah.
right? It's working. It's bringing people in the door, bringing
100%.
people into your seats. So,
Yeah. So yeah, so some great questions. Good
Yeah,
questions.
good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hopefully that helps other people in their journey in the restaurant industry, whether you're a couplepreneur or whether you are a single operator, whatever you're running your business with partners, by yourself. We encourage all of that and want to help all of you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so that's it.
That's it for today.
All right, everybody, have an amazing day. And you can go, where can they go? Restaurant Growth Secrets University.
Yes.
.com
Mhm.
for all kinds of free content.
Absolutely.
I love helping people, which is why we wrote the books. And like, we don't even care about selling the books. We give away a lot of the books. People need help. Here's a book, here's a book, here's a book, whatever. We have a funnel, we have a funnel, we have a website that's a free
Mhm.
get the book, just pay us shipping for it. And so we just like helping people.
Absolutely.
Restaurant Growth Secrets University.com. Lots of free information over there. Go check us out there.
Thanks for listening to us.
And have a great
Have
one.
a great day.